So friends, today we are doing detailed solution of Commerce Morning Shift UGC NET December 2022 cycle, and this exam was held on 4th of March 2023, right? And UGC is also coming with its next exam in June 2023. And if you want to prepare for that, you can enroll with Human Peritus by visiting our website. Now let's start with the questions one by one.
Okay, first one. According to Heckscher-Ohlin theory, which one of the following is the correct statement? The correct statement is option A. So what is this theory? This theory is also known as factors proportions theory. इसका मतलब क्या है कि जिन कंट्रीज के पास factors of production are in abundance, they will be exporting, और जिनके पास कम है, they will be importing. Although statement B is also correct, but B is more of a implication of A, but better answer is A only. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. Next one, which is correct about rectangular hyperbola shaped demand curve. So rectangular hyperbola curve कैसा होता है? So this looks like this. So इस वाली कर्व पे जितने भी पॉइंट हैं, जितने पॉइंट इस वाली कर्व पे, इन सारे पॉइंट पे elasticity, rather the point elasticity is same, and this is equal to 1. On the other hand, the slope will keep changing, as you can also see in the graph. Therefore, correct answer is B. So point elasticity is same on all the points, but the slope will keep on changing. Next one. The current market price of a company share is this. The expected dividend next year is 4.50. If dividends are expected to grow at the rate of 8%, then what is shareholder required rate of return? So we know that our market price is nothing but the dividend which we are expecting divided by R minus growth rate. So we have to just put up these values. So 90 is equal to 4.5 divided by R minus 0.08. और अगर हम इसको solve करेंगे, R comes out to be 13%. Correct answer is C. Next one. The king-shaped revenue curve of a firm relates to which one of the following market structure? So it's a very well-known concept that this is related to oligopoly. So guys, oligopoly वाले में होता क्या है? That there is a kink in the curve. Kink का मतलब क्या है कि for a given price, अगर हम इस price से ऊपर जाते हैं, then our revenue curve is something like this. But अगर हम इस प्राइस से नीचे आते हैं, if we come down this price, then there is a kink in the demand curve. So अगर ऊपर जाते हैं, it becomes more elastic, और नीचे जाते हैं तो it becomes more inelastic. Therefore, there is a kink in the demand curve, and this happens in case of oligopoly. Correct answer is B. Value additivity principle implies in which case of capital budgeting? So value additivity का मतलब क्या है? It means that value of any asset is nothing but it is equal to sum of value of all cash flows. Obviously, we have to discount them. So value additivity principle says that value of any asset is nothing but sum of values of all cash flows, and this is done in case of NPV method. Correct answer is B. The risk-free rate is 6%, market risk premium is 9%, beta is 1.54. What is cost of capital? Very simple, guys. CAPM. So 6% plus 1.5 into market premium, and this comes out to be 19.86%. The closest answer is D. Therefore, answer is D. 17. While averaging rates and ratios where time factor is available and the act being performed is constant, which one of the following measure the central tendency is most appropriate? The correct answer is harmonic mean. ऐसा क्यों है? Harmonic mean में क्या होता है, guys? So harmonic mean give more weightage to smaller values and less weightage to larger values. That is why it happens. Correct answer is C. If two regression coefficients are this, which is the coefficient of correlation? So coefficient of correlation is nothing but geometric mean of regression coefficients. So 0.8 into 1.2 का under root हम लोग करेंगे, and this comes out to be 0.979. Correct answer is A. Next one. Which one of the following statement is true? For a symmetric distribution, beta 1 is equal to 0. बिल्कुल ठीक है. Kurtzosi means lack of symmetry? No. In fact, this is definition of what? This is definition of skewness. Therefore, this is wrong. Now, let me take D first. D is what? Skewness studies the flatness or pickedness of the distribution. So, option D is definition of not skewness, but kurtoses. Therefore, this is also wrong. So, B is wrong, D is wrong, A is correct. What about C? So guys, although it is given that beta 2 can be negative, and as per answer key, this is wrong because correct answer is A only. But fact is that beta 2, which measure kurtoses, it can be negative as well. Therefore, C could also have been an answer. Although answer in the answer key, it is given A only, but C can also be a correct answer because yes, beta 2, which measures the kurtoses, this can be negative also. Next one. Which one of the following is incorrect? So option remaining all statements are correct. Only option B is incorrect. Why? Sum of absolute deviation taken from mean is not largest, but it is minimum. That is why this statement is wrong. Therefore, correct answer is B. Next one. When central bank conducts sale of securities, the cash reserve of commercial bank will what? So guys, sale of securities का मतलब क्या है? कि the central bank like RBI, they will sell, the RBI will sell government security or bond, and they will receive cash from the commercial bank in exchange of those securities. Therefore, the cash reserve of commercial bank will go down, and therefore correct answer is B. Next one. ABC Venture is a private equity investor considering investing rupees 1000 million in the equity of XYZ Limited. ABC Venture requires a return of 30% on investment with planned holding period of 5 years. The likely debt of XYZ will be 1000 million and a cash balance of rupees 300 million with a projected EBITDA of 1500 million for the year 5. The desired ownership is what? Given that future value factor is 0.4, 0.30 and 5 years is 3.713. So guys, what is value of firm? Value of firm is nothing but value of debt plus value of equity. How much is debt? It is given that this debt is 1000 million. And what is value of equity? It can be found out by EBITDA by cost of capital. So EBITDA is 1500 divided by 3.713, considering the future value factor, into 0.30 required rate of return, and plus there is also some cash with the firm, cash balance, which is 300 million. So value of equity will value of equity will come out to be 1646. अगर हम दोनों को मिला देंगे 1000 ये 1646 ये, so दोनों को मिला के it becomes 2646 becomes my value of firm. हमें क्या निकालना है? Desired ownership. So desired ownership will be for investing 1000 million will be 1000 divided by 2646 into 100 to get the percentage. It comes out to be 37.78. Correct answer is C. Next one. One of the assumptions of Black-Scholes model of option pricing is what? That our assets are log normally distributed. This is one of the assumptions. Correct answer is C. Next one. In which one of the following services product the price sensitivity is low? So price sensitivity low होने का मतलब क्या है? कि customer doesn't care if price is low, right? They will definitely are going to buy it, and that happens in case of medical services. Why? Because लोग इलाज तो करवाएंगे ही चाहे आपका प्राइस कम है या ज्यादा है. Therefore, price sensitivity is low. Next one. Which of the following are not assumption of marginal costing? So एक एक करके हम लोग देख लेते हैं. So the total cost can be segregated into fixed and variable. बिल्कुल ठीक है. The fixed cost per unit of production remain constant. So guys, fixed cost तो हमेशा ही constant रहेगा, irrespective of volume. It will remain constant. Therefore, statement 2 is incorrect. Why? Because fixed cost is not constant per unit of volume. Fixed cost will remain constant irrespective of volume. Therefore, B is incorrect. C, variable cost remain constant per unit of output. बिल्कुल ठीक है. D, selling price is same. बिल्कुल ठीक है. Last one, variable cost is variable per unit. No, it's wrong. Why? Because variable cost is fixed per unit. Therefore, B and E are wrong, and therefore correct answer is B. Next one, which of the following are correct regarding monopolist? So a monopolist can charge any price to maximize profit? No. Why? Because the price is limited by the consumer demand. Therefore, monopolists cannot charge any price. Second one, the slope of MR curve is twice that of AR curve. बिल्कुल ठीक है. Third one, a necessary condition for monopoly long run equilibrium is AC is equal to AR is equal to MC is equal to MR. So guys, होता क्या है, अगर आप मोनोपोली का लॉन्ग रन का अगर आप लोग ग्राफ देखोगे, so it looks something like this. तो इसमें, so this is your MR, this is your AR, which is equal to demand, and then what? And then you have your MC like this, ठीक है? और उसके बाद average cost curve will be something like this, ठीक है? यहाँ average cost curve होगी. So this is nothing but AC या कुछ लोग इसको ATC भी बोलते हैं, AC या ATC. So guys, इक्विलिब्रियम पे क्या होगा? इक्विलिब्रियम पे your demand is equal to AC, demand is equal to AC, demand is equal to AC, ठीक है? And at equilibrium point, your MR is equal to MC, MR is equal to MC, and demand is equal to AC, and which is equal to AR. So ये आपस में equal होंगे. So 1 and 2 you can say that D is equal to AC is equal to MR, MR is equal to MC, but ऐसा नहीं होगा that your AC is equal to MR. Therefore, statement C is wrong. Statement D, a monopolist is in equilibrium when MC is equal to MR. बिल्कुल ठीक है. So this is that point. Correct. Equilibrium price of a monopolist is always higher than that of a competitive firm. This is also correct. Therefore, B, D, E are correct, and therefore correct answer is C. Next one, which one of the following are measure of central tendency? तो central tendency का measure कौन कौन सा है? मीन है, बिल्कुल है. रेंज है, नहीं है. मोड है, बिल्कुल है. मीडियन है, बिल्कुल है. वेरिएंस है, नहीं है. So range and variance are not measures of central tendency, but they are measures of dispersion, and not central tendency. Therefore, correct answer is C. A, C, D are the measures of central tendency. आगे बढ़ते हैं. In which of the following situation Poisson distribution can be used? So guys, Poisson can be used in all the situations except B. Why? Because sorry, except D. Why? Because D is a case of binomial distribution and not Poisson distribution. बाकी सब में Poisson distribution is applicable. Therefore, D will go out, and therefore correct answer is A, B, C, and E only. Correct answer is B. Okay. For ongoing maintenance of regulatory capital, pillar 1 in Basel norms में कौन कौन से रिस्क आते हैं? So guys, इसमें आते हैं अपने क्रेडिट रिस्क आता है, फिर then we have market risk, then operational risk, and चौथा रिस्क होता है लिक्विडिटी रिस्क, जो कि इसमें नहीं दिया हुआ है. तो कौन कौन से नहीं होंगे? So this option will not be there. This option will also not be there. Therefore, correct answer is A, C, D, which is given in option D. Correct answer is D. Next one, match the following. So first thing is margin of safety. So margin of safety will go with this. Then we have break-even point. Break-even point is nothing but where your contribution is equal to fixed cost. It will go with D. Then PV ratio. So PV ratio is what? Total sales minus total variable cost divided by total sales. So this will go with this. And last, which is what? Last, which is contribution D. D will go with what? D will go with the difference between total revenue and total variable cost. So this will be D, and correct answer will be B. Next one. Okay, these are nothing but definitions of financial lease, operating lease, direct lease. The correct answer is A. Next one. Different scenarios in which tests are applicable. Correct answer is A. Next one. Next one is that time between successive arrival of customer in a queue is nothing but exponential distribution. Then the distribution of income, property, and certain human capability, certain human abilities in a capitalistic economy is what? Is nothing but Pareto principle. So B will go with 1, A will go with 3. So A will go with 3, B will go with 1. Okay, and distribution of rare events where probability of occurrence is very small and trials are very large. So this will go with what? This will go with Poisson distribution, which is option 2. Therefore, correct answer is B. Next one, monetary policy. Yeah. So monetary policy on its own cannot influence the economic growth, but can only support it by creating congenial factor. So guys, पहली बात तो yes, monetary policy economic growth को impact करती है, बिल्कुल करती है. Why? Because monetary policy से decide होता है about credit availability. So if there is a more credit or less credit available to businesses, this will decide, this will have a significant impact on the economic growth. लेकिन monetary policy on its own, it cannot do it because there are also other factors which are important. For example, your macroeconomic environment, for example, your fiscal policy. So because there are other factors as well. Therefore, on its own, it cannot influence. So it has more of an indirect influence. Therefore, yes, statement 1 is correct. Let's look at statement 2. Statement 2 is what? Monetary policy rates get transmitted across markets and eventually get reflected in lending rates, mortgage rates, and yields. Hence, monetary policy can address the current inflation. This statement is correct, guys. Although in the official answer key, it is given that statement 2 is incorrect, but to us this looks correct. Although official answer key is given to be C, but we believe that correct answer should have been that option A is correct, and option B is also correct. Therefore, correct answer should have been A, although in the official answer key it is given to be C. Next one. Okay, the theories of price determination, the theories of price determination under oligopoly are found to be inapplicable to real life scenarios. Okay, why? Because real life oligopoly market situation has some features which are like small number of seller, interdependence of decision making, barriers to entry. So these are some of the factors which determine the oligopoly market, and because it's difficult that these will exist in the real life market condition. Therefore, both A and R are correct, and R is correct explanation of A. Therefore, A is the correct answer. 89, translation exposure reflect. Translation exposure refers to economic gain or loss occurring from difference in exchange rate. बिल्कुल ठीक है, this is correct. दूसरा, transaction exposure refers to change in value of firm caused by unexpected change in exchange rate. So guys, this is wrong. Why? Because this is not definition of transaction exposure. Rather, this is definition of economic exposure. Therefore, statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is wrong, and therefore correct answer is C. Next one. If a population from a sample is drawn doesn't constitute a homogeneous group, the stratified sampling can be used. This is right. बिल्कुल ठीक है. In case of a small sample, Z test is applied even when population standard deviation is not given. So guys, अगर population का standard deviation नहीं दिया तो तुम Z test कर ही नहीं सकते, तुम्हें इसकी जगह T test करना होगा. Therefore, statement 2 is incorrect and therefore correct answer is C.
The question is, which one of the following INDS is related to the effects of changes in foreign exchange rates? So the question relates to IND accounting standards, right? So the answer option to this question is D, INDAS 21. Okay. Next question. Policy of playing safe followed by the accountant is based on which one of the following concepts? So basically this is related to conservatism principle of accounting, wherein we have to provide for all future losses but not for future gains. So answer option to this question is option B. Next is X and Y are partners wherein certain profit sharing ratio is given and they surrender their ratio in the favor of Z. We have to find out the new profit sharing ratio. How would we calculate? So X share we are provided with 4/9. So Y share we are provided by 5/9, right? Okay. So surrender in favor of Z. So out of 4/9 he is surrendering 1/4 and out of 5/9 he is surrendering 1/5. So this comes out to be 1/9, 1/9. So Z shares comes out to be 1/9 plus 1/9, that is my 2/9, right? So this is my Z share, and whatever is left with X and Y, that is 4/9 minus 1/9. Here it comes out to be 3/9, and 5/9, if I deduct 1/9 from it, so I'll get 4/9. So can you see the required ratio is 3:4:2, which is reflected by option A. Net profit after taxes of the firm is 1 lakh, fixed interest charges 20,000 and tax is given at the rate of 60%. We have to find out interest coverage ratio. So my ICR is calculated using EBIT upon interest, right? So here we are provided with EAT, that is earning after taxes, right? So if I have to obtain EBIT from EAT, what we have to do? Earning after taxes has to be added with interest and tax in order to arrive at earning before interest and taxes, right? So if this figure is X, so this is given as 1 lakh. And interest figure is again given to me 20,000 and we need to find out tax. So tax would be computed on EBIT minus interest charges. So EBIT is my again X and interest charges is my 20,000. So if I solve this equation, I arrive at the figure of 2,70,000 as my EBIT, right? So if I put this value in this formula, so this comes out to be 2,27,000 divided by my interest charges. This is 13.5 times. So correct option is option B, right? Okay, the study of unemployment is the subject matter of which one of the following economics? So everyone knows that microeconomics deals with the study of individual agents of the economy, right? Like for example, firms, consumers, producers, right? Whereas if we talk about macroeconomics, it talks about studying the behavior of economy as a whole, right? Study of aggregates. So that comes to be like, for example, unemployment, inflation, economic growth, etc. So correct option to this question is option D. So next is average clause on insurance is applicable for which one of the following cases? So if I'm talking about average clause, average clause is applicable in that situation when the insured is not insured to the full value of the property, to the extent of the full value of the property, right? So in order to safeguard the interest of the insurer, this clause has to be provided in order to reduce the amount of claim in proportion to the under insurance, right? So correct option to this question is option D. Okay, so if next question says if anyone fraudulently or dishonestly makes use of the electronic signature, password, or any other unique identification feature of any other person, then which section provides punishment? So straightforward, the answer to this question is section 66C, right? Okay, from December 1, 2022, which body handles all complaints related to profiteering under GST? So earlier, all such complaints were handled by National Anti-Profiteering Authority. However, now this authority has been shifted to CCI, Competition Commission of India, right? So correct option is answer C. Section 80 GGC of Income Tax Act, again straightforward question from the deductions of the income tax. So 80 GGC talks about deduction in respect of contribution given by any person to political parties. So correct answer is option B. Which one of the following is not correct for tonnage tax system? So of course here three options are correct and one is not correct. So three options which are correct with respect to tonnage tax system, it's a scheme of presumptive taxation, yes, and it is applicable for taxation of income derived from shipping activity. So this is also correct, right? And the section which talks about tonnage tax system is covered under, so computation of tonnage income is covered under section 115 VG. And if I talk about which chapter of the income tax talks about this tonnage tax system, that is chapter 12G, right? Okay, Income Tax Act. And the statement which is incorrect is it is applicable for both Indian as well as foreign companies. So this is incorrect. Why? Because this system is only referred to this is with reference to only domestic companies, right? Okay, so incorrect statement with respect to tonnage tax system is option C. Okay, next question is tax on declared dividend is paid by whom? So UGC has given two of the options as answer to this question, which is also correct, that is shareholders and receiver of the dividend. So by mistake they had given usually the same options in A and C, shareholders and receiver of the dividend, one and the same thing, right? So that is why they had given two of the answers in the final answer key. And we should note that with effect from assessment year 2021, this tax burden has been shifted to shareholders. So earlier this burden was on the company, right? Okay, so answer A and C, both. Okay, which one of the following is not related to income tax in India? So if you look at the option B, C, D, all, so B and C particularly, they are the components of the salary on which the income tax has to be paid. So these are related to income tax. So tax deduction and collection account number is that number which has to be obtained by those persons who deduct tax and collect tax on account of the government and then deposit it to the government itself. So this is again related to the income tax. So which is not related to income taxes, that is this one, taxpayer identification number. So this needs to be obtained by those dealers or trailers who enter into transactions which attract value added tax, VAT, right? So this is not related to income tax. Okay, so correct option to this question is A. Okay, after COVID-19, which of the following are the upskilling enablers for women in India? If we look at the options, we will be easily able to find out the answer. Introduction of electric vehicles. This is nothing to do with the upscaling of upscaling enablers for women, right? So this cannot be the answer. Flexible working work opportunities, yes. Work from home, yes. Need to stay relevant, especially in technology, yes. Willingness to return to work, yes. So B, C, D, E, which is provided by this option. So D is the final possible answer to this question, right? Okay, which of the following transactions are related to financing activities? So financing activities, if we have to talk about, basically they reflect the long-term funding, right? So shares issued for cash, yes. Right, dividend distributed to shareholders, yes. Right, sale of machinery, this is no. Why? Because it comes into investment kind of transaction. Redemption of debentures, yes, you are redeeming debentures, so it will be having impact on the funding of the funding and financing activity of the company, then of course it is yes. Provision for depreciation, no, because again there is no inflow and outflow of cash. So basically this is not to be included. So answer to this question is your A, B and D, so which is reflected by option C. Okay, next question is which of the following hinders the growth of hinder the formation and sustainability of cartels, right? So look at the options. Less number of firms in the industry. So cartel is whenever people do any kind of collusion in order to impact the price and control the market, right? So whenever there are less number of firms in the industry, definitely it will facilitate uh, cartelization, because they will be able to control the market if there are less number of firms, right? So this cannot be the answer. So presence of differentiated products, different cost structures, and low frequency sales coupled with huge amount of output in all these three options. In all these three options, yes, this will hinder the formation or sustainability of cartels. Why? Because they will not be able to collude. They will not be agree upon one points, because the products are differentiated, because the cost structures are different, and because they are not in the D option, they are not going to meet frequently because of the low frequency sales, right? And if we are talking about option C, absence of monopolies and restrictive trade practices. So if there are no such laws which are checking on monopolies and restrictive trade practices, then certainly this is going to facilitate the formation and sustainability of cartels. So accordingly, my correct answer is B, C, D, which is reflected through option A, right? Okay. Next is, which of the following factors determine the requirements of the working capital of the firm? Again, if we look at the options, we can simply get to know that which are the factors. Nature of business, of course, it is going to determine the requirement of the working capital. Technology, credit policy, and then my market and demand conditions, certainly they are going to affect the requirements of the working capital of the business. So only one factor which is listed out here, which is not going to affect the requirement of the working capital, is your uh this one, management skills, right? Okay, so correct option to this question is B, which is A, B, D and E. Okay, which of the following are related to primary capital market? So if I am talking about primary capital market, this is the market which we are talking about, where new securities are issued and sold for the first time, right? So IPO, no doubt, it's a primary capital market instrument. So long-term loans, yes. Venture capital, basically they are the investors who invest in new businesses, new business setups, right? So letter of credit is the instrument which is used in international market. Participation certificates are the instruments which are used by the bankers, right? So these are not the options which are related to primary capital market. So correct option to this question is your ABC, which is reflected by capital C here. Next question. So as per RTI Act 2005, which of the following are exempted from disclosure? So basically we have to find out those disclosures which are listed out in the act itself, which are not compulsory to disclose. So the information which is not compulsory to disclose. So information, the disclosure of which cause a breach of privilege of the parliament or the state legislature. So yes, this is in the category of exempted disclosure, right? Information received in confidence from foreign government, yes, because it is received in confidence, so that need not be disclosed, right? Information which relates to personal information. So any personal information which has no relationship to any public activity or interest, so this is not going to be disclosed. Okay, so these three falls into the category of exempted information, right? So A, C and D, basically capital B is the correct option to this question. Okay, an instrument is to be called negotiable as per Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 if it possesses which of the following characteristics? So we have to simply find out the characteristic of the negotiable instrument. Yes, it can be transferred infinitum any number of times, having minimum lock-in period. So there is no minimum lock-in period requirement as far as negotiable instrument is concerned. Yes, they are freely transferable. The holder cannot sue in his own name? No. So this option is not correct. Holder can sue in his own name, and holder's title is free from defects, right? So accordingly, the correct option is A, C, and E. So which is reflected by option A. Okay. Income received and accrued or arising outside India from a business controlled in or a profession set up in India is taxed in the hands of two kinds of residents. One is your ordinary resident. Okay, two kind of persons, ordinary resident and your non-ordinary resident. So accordingly, the correct answer to this question is option C. Which of the following are related to tax evasion? So if we are talking about tax evasion, it means we are talking to that illegal mode of transactions which leads us to avoidance of tax, right? So if you look at the options, it is they themselves are giving us the hint. So claiming bogus expenses and losses, yes. Hiding, so you are hiding something, hiding capital nature of profits, yes, again it leads to tax evasion. Showing sales transaction, there is no harm in it, so these are the genuine ones, right? Showing excess transaction, yes. So if you are showing something in accounts which is in excess, so again this is something fishy, right? Again, E option says showing real income and expenses, so there would not be any kind of tax evasion. So correct option to this question is A, B, and D, which is reflected by option B. Okay. Now we are given a question with respect to section 91 of the Income Tax Act 1961. So before I start with this question, I must tell you that there are two sections, section 90 and section 91, which deals with doubly taxed incomes, right? So DTI stands for doubly taxed incomes here, right? So if I am talking about section 90, section 90 gives relief to those persons who have paid tax in the country and that country is having agreement, DTA agreement, double tax avoidance agreement with Government of India, right? So there is an agreement. And section 91 gives relief to those people who pay tax outside India and that country in which the tax has been paid, that has no DTA with Government of India, right? So if you now go with the options, so the assessee is a tax resident in India, yes, so it is applicable to both these sections. The income accrues or arises to him or her outside India, yes, right? There is an agreement for relief from double taxation. So section 90 says yes, there is an agreement for relief from double taxation with which with the country in which the tax has been paid, right? Okay. So section 90 here comes in the option C picture, right? So D option says the assessee has paid tax on his or her foreign income in the foreign country, right? Okay, this is also applicable. India does not have any agreement, so this is more particularly referring to section 91. So this option C is not referring statement E is referring to section 91, wherein there is no DTA with the country in which the tax has been paid. So accordingly, A, B, D, and E, that is reflected through capital C option. So capital C is the correct option to this question, right? Okay, very simple, straightforward question from the auditing, wherein 4 of the terms are given. So cutoff is where it is basically whether all the assets are reported in the appropriate period. So there must be a certain cutoff period, right? Classification is when the transactions are recorded in proper accounts. Occurrence, again, the hint is also given in the statement 4. Transactions have occurred and relate to the entity. Existence is that the balances exist at the end of the period, right? So accordingly, the correct option to this question is option D. So we have various sections of Sale of Goods Act. So sale by auction is your section 64, breach of warranty is section 13, and sale by description is section 15, and transfer of title is section 27. So if we match up accordingly, the answer should be option A to this question, right? Okay, so various ideas have been given. So this is very straightforward question from the Income Tax Act. So ITR 2, if you look at the options, so this is for individual HUF not having income for business and profession. So ITR 2 I have written, right? So ITR 6 they are saying, so this is your ITR 6 for a company other than company claiming exemption under section 11, and ITR 7 is your for a person who are required to furnish return under section 139, and ITR 4 is basically for presumptive business incomes, right? So this is your ITR 4. Okay, so accordingly the correct option is B. Arrange the following examples of human needs in the hierarchy of their increasing importance. So this is an application based question on Maslow need hierarchy. So if we look at the options, food and shelter provision, this is my physiological need, right? This needs to this has to be satisfied. First, food and shelter provision, right? And then insurance for accidents. This is my safety need, that comes second in the hierarchy. And then developing meaningful and meaningful relationships with others, that is my social needs. So this is the third in the hierarchy. And recognition and respect from others, that falls into my esteem needs. And last but not the least is accomplishing distinction in chosen area by maximizing potential. This is self actualization need. This is the last need which has been prescribed in the hierarchy of the Maslow. So accordingly, the correct options is D. Okay. Computation of income from house property for let out house, the following items are deducted. So if we have to calculate GAV, certainly the first deduction has to be there with respect to unrealized rent. So in order to find out gross annual value, two of the values have to be taken. That is, first is my reasonable expected rent, and the another one is rent actually received. And from rent actually received, what we have to deduct? Unrealized rent. So thereafter we have to take the higher of these two values to obtain the value of GAV, right? From GAV, if we deduct municipal taxes, then we arrive at NAV, right? So again, so this is supposed to be first deducted, second is this, and then after that we have to make the deductions under section 24, that is standard deduction, right? And then the interest, then there is a deduction on account of interest on borrowed capital, and which belongs to previous year, that has to be deducted first, and which belongs to period prior to the previous year, that has to be deducted later. So accordingly the sequence is B. Okay, next question. So two statements are given in the form of assertion and reasoning. Assertion A says when holding company holds more than 50% shares of a company, then the holders of the rest of the shares will be known as minority. Yes, this is correct. Reason says minority interest is calculated by considering proportionate shares and reserves of holding company. No, this is not correct, because minority interest is calculated by considering proportionate shares and reserves of subsidiary company. So this is totally incorrect. So accordingly, option C is correct. That is A is true, but R is false, right?
Okay. The question says, which one of the following non-tariff barrier is to be adequately addressed by India while signing FTA with any country that has potential to import some fruits, vegetables and plant-based product from India? तो basically इंडिया से अगर इंडिया किसी भी कंट्री के साथ FTA कर रहा है फॉर द इंपोर्ट ऑफ दीज टाइप्स ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स, तो उस टाइम में प्रोटेक्शन के लिए क्या रेगुलेशन लगाएगा? वो फाइटोसैनिटरी रेगुलेशन लगाएगा, ताकि आप जो फ्रूट्स या प्लांट सीड्स जो आप इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं उसमें से कोई डिसीज ना हो जाए. तो ऑप्शन ए इज द करेक्ट आंसर. नेक्स्ट इज, which one of the following FTA was signed in फरवरी 2022 and came into force in मई 2022? तो इंडिया की यूएई के साथ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप एग्रीमेंट हुआ था, 18 फेब को ये हुआ था और फाइनली 1 मई को ये एनफोर्स हो गया था. सो प्योरली करंट अफेयर्स का सवाल है और इसको आप भी टिक करके आ जाइए. नेक्स्ट, Government of India on this particular date extending the existing FTP up to which one of the following date on account of some situations? तो बेसिकली नेट ने क्वेश्चन ड्रॉप कर दिया. क्यों ड्रॉप कर दिया? क्योंकि नेट से गलती हो गई कि यहाँ पे उन्होंने 2023 नहीं लिखा, 2022 ही प्रिंट होके आ गया और इसीलिए ड्रॉप है. हालांकि अगर 2023 होता तो हमारी जानकारी के लिए भी आंसर सही होता कि 31 मार्च तक कर दिया था, और फाइनली आज हम जब अप्रैल में है तो ये ऑलरेडी एनफोर्स हो चुकी है. जो अगला एफटीपी है वो आ चुका है. ठीक है.
नेक्स्ट इज विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग कम्युनिटीज हैज द मोस्ट इनइलास्टिक डिमांड। तो सबसे पहले इनइलास्टिक डिमांड क्या होता है? बेसिकली बात यह है कि इलास्टिसिटी क्या होती है कि चेंज इन डिमांड हुई जब आपने प्राइस बदल दिया। तो इनइलास्टिक का मतलब है, एज द नेम सजेस्ट, कि चेंज इन प्राइस से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा उसकी डिमांड में। तो कोई भी ऐसा प्रोडक्ट जो बहुत ही यूजफुल है और बहुत ही ज्यादा आम जीवन में है तो वो आपके यूज में आएगा। जैसे इसका आंसर क्लोजली आप देखोगे तो सिगरेट भी हो सकता है, क्योंकि इफ द सिगरेट प्राइस हैज चेंज और नॉट, जो भी पीता है दे विल गोइंग टू इट डजंट मेक सच इफेक्ट। हालांकि इसका करेक्ट आंसर नेट ने डी दिया है, विच इज सॉल्ट, और ये भी सही आंसर है, और इसीलिए अब डी, इसलिए हम इसका डी मानेंगे। नेक्स्ट इज विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज डिफरेंट सोर्स ऑफ पावर। तो ये होता क्या है डिफरेंट सोर्स ऑफ पावर? ये वो पावर है जो आप ऐसे डिराइव करते हो कि आपके सबऑर्डिनेट जो आपको लेके लाइकेबिलिटी को लेके रहते हैं, उस सेंस में जो आपने पावर डिराइव करी, दैट इज डिफरेंट सोर्स ऑफ पावर। तो क्लियरली ऑप्शन बी हमें बताता है कि मैनेजर्स डिजायर टू आइडेंटिफाई विद और इमिटेट द सबऑर्डिनेट, यानी सबऑर्डिनेट आपको इमिटेट करेंगे, और तभी करेंगे जब आपके संग लाइकेबिलिटी होगा। तो इजीली इसका आंसर बी हो जाएगा। ठीक है। नेक्स्ट इज विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट एन एडवांटेज ऑफ द लाइन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। तो लाइन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कुछ नहीं, बहुत ही ट्रेडिशनल के एक वर्टिकल हायरार्की है, और उसी के हिसाब से सारे डायरेक्शंस चल रहे हैं। ठीक है। तो इट इंश्योर्स एक्सीलेंट डिसिप्लिन, ये बहुत ही अच्छा एडवांटेज है। इट फिक्सेस रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ टास्क, बिल्कुल सही बात है। इट इज सुटेबल फॉर बिग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, तो ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है। दिस इज वेरी वेग स्टेटमेंट, और ये गलत हो जाएगा, और इसलिए ऑप्शन सी इसका सही आंसर है। ठीक है। आगे बढ़ते हैं। अ स्केल दैट मेजर्स अ फेयर सैंपल ऑफ द टास्क एंड स्किल्स एक्चुअली नीडेड फॉर द जॉब इन क्वेश्चन इज नोन एज। तो बेसिकली क्या होता है, इसे कंटेंट वैलिडिटी कहते हैं। इसमें क्या होता है कि अगर आपने कोई टेस्ट बनाया है टू असेस सम स्किल या फिर असेस सम परफॉर्मेंस, असेस सम नॉलेज, तो उसको लेके जो टेस्ट का कंटेंट बना है वो कितना अच्छा है। ठीक है। तो आंसर इसका हो जाएगा कंटेंट वैलिडिटी। नेक्स्ट इज ट्रेनिंग टेक्निक विच टीचेस द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ रिजॉल्विंग मैटर इज नोन एज। तो बिल्ड इन टेंशन इसका सही आंसर है। राइट। रिजॉल्विंग मैटर्स में क्या कि एक साइमल्टेनियस एक एक सिमुलेट सिचुएशन होगी जिसमें दो इंडिविजुअल के बोल से कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होगा, और उसके फिर अराइजन को, उसको रिजॉल्व करने को लेके कुछ कुछ इसमें ट्रेनिंग्स होती है, दैट इज बिल्ट इन टेंशन। नेक्स्ट इज विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज करेक्ट व्हाइल सेगमेंटिंग कंज्यूमर मार्केट ऑन डेमोग्राफिक बेसिस। काफी अच्छा क्वेश्चन है ये बिल्कुल बताता है कि यूजीसी नेट ने के जो कॉन्सेप्चुअल जो वो पूछने लगे हैं तो उसका क्या मतलब है। ठीक है। जैसे मार्केट सेगमेंटेशन का मतलब क्या होता है कि आपने मार्केट को कुछ कुछ पैरामीटर्स के बेस में सेगमेंट कर दिया, राइट, डिवाइड कर दिया। तो आप क्या क्या कर सकते हो, डेमोग्राफिक कर सकते हो, साइकोग्राफिक कर सकते हो, बिहेवियरल सेगमेंटेशन कर सकते हो, जोग्राफिकल सेगमेंटेशन कर सकते हो। हालांकि हमारा क्वेश्चन डेमोग्राफिक पूछ रहा है, तो उसके एग्जाम्पल क्या क्या हो सकते हैं, वही जो पॉपुलेशन से रिलेटेड है, एज के बेसिस पे, जेंडर के बेसिस पे, इनकम के बेसिस पे, जो ये मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर्स हैं। अब इससे रिलेटेड अगर हम डेमोग्राफिक बेसिस पे कर रहे हैं तो कंज्यूमर चॉइस और कॉस्ट ऑफ मेजरमेंट पे क्या इंपैक्ट आएगा, विच इज हाई और लो। तो काफी अच्छा सोच के बनाया। तो देखते हैं कंज्यूमर चॉइस बिहेवियर। अब जाहिर सी बात है अगर मैं डेमोग्राफिक सेगमेंटेशन को बाकी सेगमेंटेशन से कंपेयर करूंगा तो डेमोग्राफिक इज वेरी सुपरफिशियल और बहुत ही ऊपर ऊपर से है, तो लो प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी रहेगी। अगर मैं बिहेवियरल की बात करूं तो किसका बिहेवियर किस ब्रांड की तरफ कैसा है वो ज्यादा अच्छे तरीके से बता पाएगा कंज्यूमर चॉइस के बारे में, एज कंपेयर टू के जेंडर कैसा है, यानी लो प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी। एंड हाई कॉस्ट ऑफ मेजरमेंट, नो। करेक्ट आंसर इसका बी है वैसे, कि लो कॉस्ट ऑफ मेजरमेंट, क्योंकि इसमें कोई अलग से कुछ सर्वे नहीं कराना है आपको। बहुत सारे डेटा होते हैं जो कंट्री की पॉपुलेशन से रिलेटेड आपको मिल जाते हैं, ब्यूरोज रहते हैं जिन्होंने किया है, सरकारी एजेंसियां हैं, तो अलग अलग सेगमेंट का आपको डेटा आसानी से मिल जाएगा, और ऑप्शन बी इसका सही आंसर हो जाएगा। नेक्स्ट इज विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट अ मार्केट ओरिएंटेड डेफिनेशन ऑफ बिजनेस। मार्केट ओरिएंटेड डेफिनेशन माने आप मार्केट को कुछ बता रहे हो। तो अगर आप ऑप्शन बी देखोगे, वी हेल्प इंप्रूव ऑफिस प्रोडक्टिविटी, यहां पे भी आप कुछ बता रहे हो। वी सप्लाई एनर्जी, यहां पे भी कुछ कुछ बता रहे हो। वी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट इंफॉर्मेशन, ये भी आप मार्केट में बता रहे हो। वी रन अ रेल रोड, ये थोड़ा सा इंटरनल ऑपरेशन है, और एलिमिनेशन से आप समझ जाओगे कि यही इसका सही आंसर है। तो ऑप्शन ए इज द राइट आंसर। In which one of the following concepts a buyer is passively involved in an exchange transaction and he accept whatever is offered to him by a marketer। यानी बायर्स ने हमने चॉइस हटा दी तो हम मास में प्रोडक्शन कर रहे हैं, और इसी को हम कह देते हैं प्रोडक्शन कॉन्सेप्ट। कुछ प्रोडक्ट ऐसे हैं जिनमें क्वालिटी का इतना मैटर नहीं करता, बस वो होने चाहिए, जैसे स्टील है, राइट, वो होना चाहिए, खरीद लेंगे। आगे बढ़ते हैं। इफ इनवॉइस डिस्काउंटिंग इज नॉट कॉन्फिडेंशियल इन नेचर, द कस्टमर्स ऑफ द क्लाइंट आर एडवाइज टू मेक पेमेंट डायरेक्टली टू द फैक्टर। दिस फैसिलिटी व्हेन ऑफर्ड विद नॉन रिकर्स इज नोन एज एजेंसी फैक्टरिंग। इसमें क्या होता है कि एक तो होता है क्लाइंट, एक होता है कस्टमर, और एक होता है आपका फैक्टर, जिसे हम फाइनेंसिंग के भी कह देते हैं। तो अब क्लाइंट जो है, क्योंकि कुछ कॉन्फिडेंशियल है, तो क्लाइंट सीधे बोलता है कस्टमर को कि वो फाइनेंसिंग से सीधे डील कर ले, और इसीलिए इसका करेक्ट आंसर होगा ऑप्शन ए। ठीक है, नेक्स्ट इज विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर द डिस्टिंक्ट फीचर ऑफ प्रिंसिपल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट। काफी जेनरिक है। तो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी बिल्कुल सही बात है, यूनिवर्सल एप्लीकेशन बिल्कुल सही बात है, प्रिंसिपल आर एब्सोल्यूट एंड नॉट रिलेटिव ये गलत हो गया, सर्कमस्टेंसेस के हिसाब से प्रिंसिपल भी बदल सकते हैं, बेस्ड ऑन सिचुएशन बिल्कुल सही बात है, डिराइव्ड आउट ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस तो हमारा सही हो गया ए बी डी और ई, यानी ए बी डी और ई ऑप्शन डी। ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं। अकॉर्डिंग टू हेनरी फेयोल विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ मैनेजमेंट। तो हेनरी फेयोल ने 14 प्रिंसिपल्स दिए थे, वेरी पॉपुलर प्रिंसिपल्स। उनकी एक बुक थी जनरल एंड इंडस्ट्रियल मैनेजमेंट, उसमें उन्होंने दिए थे। तो उसमें से कौन कौन से थे? डिसिप्लिन था, डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन नहीं था, यूनिटी ऑफ कमांड था, इक्विटी था, और इंस्टेबिलिटी ऑफ टेन्योर। तो वैसे तो नाम ही अपने आप पे समझ में आ रहा है कि कुछ तो भी है। तो ए, सी और डी इसका सही आंसर हो जाएगा, मैं और ऑप्शन ए को टिक करके आ जाऊंगा। नेक्स्ट इज विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर द फंक्शंस ऑफ आरबीआई। आरबीआई के क्या क्या फंक्शंस हैं? इश्यू ऑफ करेंसी बिल्कुल है, एक्सेप्टिंग डिपॉजिट्स, आरबीआई कभी भी डिपॉजिट्स को एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता है, तो ये गलत है। बैंकर ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट बिल्कुल सही बात है, बैंकर्स का बैंक बिल्कुल सही बात है, क्रेडिट कंट्रोल मॉनेटरी टूल्स के थ्रू वो क्रेडिट कंट्रोल करता है, ये भी सही बात है। तो ए सी डी ई, ए सी डी ई ऑप्शन डी में दिया हुआ है और मैंने इसको टिक कर दिया। नेक्स्ट इज विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर टू बी डिटरमाइंड टू एस्टिमेट करेंट मार्केट डिमांड। तो करेंट मार्केट डिमांड चार चीजों से डिपेंड होती है। एक तो होता है टोटल मार्केट पोटेंशियल, एक होता है एरिया मार्केट पोटेंशियल, एक होता है टोटल इंडस्ट्री सेल्स, एक होता है मार्केट शेयर। तो इसमें से क्या क्या दिया हुआ है? टोटल मार्केट पोटेंशियल दिया हुआ है, एरिया मार्केट पोटेंशियल दिया हुआ है, एनालाइज पास सेल्स नहीं होता है, सेल्स फोर्स इनपुट भी नहीं होता है, मार्केट शेयर होता है। तो ए बी और ई विच इज ऑप्शन डी। ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर सोशल फैक्टर्स इन्फ्लुएंसिंग कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर। तो जनरली कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर को तीन अलग अलग उसमें बांटा गया है कि एक तो सोशल फैक्टर होते हैं, या फिर आपके पर्सनल फैक्टर्स होते हैं, या कल्चरल फैक्टर्स होते हैं। तो कल्चर और सब सब सोशल क्लास जो है ये कल्चरल फैक्टर्स हैं, ग्रुप्स, फैमिलीज और रोल एंड स्टेटस क्या है? सोशल फैक्टर्स। तो सी डी इसका सही आंसर हो जाएगा विच इज ऑप्शन सी। ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं। हम्म Which of the following are true when an organization uses intensive distribution of its product? तो तीन टाइप के डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होते हैं, इंटेंसिव होता है, एक्सक्लूसिव होता है, और सिलेक्टिव होता है। जैसा कि नाम बता रहा है उसका बिल्कुल वही मतलब है। तो अगर इंटेंसिव है तो हमें बहुत ज्यादा करना है, सब कुछ मास में होना चाहिए। तो कस्टमर्स आर मॉडरेट इन नंबर, भाई क्यों करेंगे जब कस्टमर्स मॉडरेट है? तो ये गलत है। वाइड स्प्रेड मार्केट कवरेज बिल्कुल सही बात है। कस्टमर्स आर ब्रांड कॉन्शियस, नो, अगर ब्रांड कॉन्शियस है तो सिलेक्टिव हो गया वो, या फिर एक्सक्लूसिव हो गया। तो मास एडवर्टाइजिंग ये भी सही बात है। प्लेजेंट शॉपिंग कंडीशन, नो कोई प्लेजेंट नहीं, सब कुछ मास में चाहिए। तो आंसर इसका सही हो गया बी और ई विच इज सॉरी बी और डी विच इज ऑप्शन सी। ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं। इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपिटल ऑफ एन एंटरप्राइज इंक्लूड्स। तो इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपिटल क्या क्या हो सकती है? हर वो चीज जो आइडिया जनरेटेड है, जैसे प्रोसेसेस है, डिजाइन्स है, रिलेशनशिप डेवलप विद इट्स कस्टमर एंड सप्लायर्स है, ये सब इंटेलेक्चुअल चीजें हैं। ठीक है, इंटरनेट डोमेन नेम और कॉपीराइट एक तरीके से इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी होता है, पर हम इसको इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपिटल मान लेंगे, और एबीसीडी इसका सही आंसर हो जाएगा विच इज ऑप्शन डी। नेक्स्ट इज COP27 जो इजिप्ट में हुई थी, उससे रिलेटेड कुछ कुछ डायरेक्शंस थे और उनसे रिलेटेड एक्शन प्लान्स थे, वो हमें मैच कराने हैं। इसमें हम कॉमन सेंस भी लगाएंगे तो हो जाएगा। फॉर एग्जांपल मिटिगेशन, यानी आपको कुछ ठीक करना है तो फेज डाउन अनबेटेड कोल पावर। तो ए को तो सीधे सीधे तीन के संग जुड़ना चाहिए। कैपिटलाइज करना है यानी कुछ क्रिएट करना है, तो क्रिएशन ऑफ लॉस एंड डैमेज फंड, तो बी का हो गया आपका 4। ठीक है, टेक्नोलॉजी यानी कुछ सॉल्यूशंस की बात होगी तो ए 1 हो जाएगा, प्रमोट क्लाइमेट नो हाउ सॉल्यूशंस, तो सी का हो गया आपका 1। ठीक है, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग यानी एम्पावर्ड करना है आपको, तो कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग डी का हो जाएगा 2 विच इज एम्पावरिंग ऑल स्टेक होल्डर्स टू एंगेज इन क्लाइमेट एक्शन। ठीक है, तो 3 4 1 2 इसका सही आंसर है विच इज 3 4 1 एंड 2, ऑप्शन सी। नेक्स्ट, अब ये थोड़ा सा जेनरिक है, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक पूछे और लीडरशिप मोड पूछा है। थोड़ा आपको इसमें ऑप्शन से इसके आंसर तक पहुंचना होगा। जैसे कि डोमिनेंट नीड की बात कर रहे हैं तो पावर एक्सटेंशन से जुड़ गया, पावर एक्सटेंड करेंगे, एक डोमिनेंट नीड है, तो आपका सी का 1 होना चाहिए, तो ऑप्शन ये एलिमिनेट हो गया, सी का 1 है, सी का 1 है, सी का 1 है। इसी तरीके से अगर आप मैनेजिंग स्टाइल कर रहे हैं तो बिल्डिंग कल्चर कर रहे हैं, तो ये कैरेक्टरिस्टिक किसका है? मैनेजिंग स्टाइल है ये। ठीक है। तो मैं बिल्डिंग कल्चर का कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है मैनेजिंग स्टाइल, तो डी का 3 हो गया, तो आपका ये ऑप्शन भी कट गया और ये रह गए। ठीक है, अब ए और बी में से चॉइस डिसाइड करनी थी। तो सोर्स ऑफ पावर, कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पावर, ठीक है, तो सोर्स ऑफ पावर को एम्पावरमेंट से जोड़ दिया आंसर के हिसाब से, और कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पावर को मल्टीप्लाइंग से जोड़ दिया, इन वेरी जेनरिक, और इसका सही आंसर हो जाएगा ऑप्शन ए। ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं। अगेन मैच द कॉलम। लिस्ट 1 में है सेल्स प्रमोटिंग मेथड, और गोल बताया है, गोल कस्टमर से रिलेटेड बताया और स्टोर से रिलेटेड बताया है। तो अगेन इसमें भी आप एक एक वर्ड को पकड़ सकते हैं। जैसे कि अगर मैं स्टॉक अलायंसेस बोलूं, तो स्टॉक अलायंसेस देना है, यानी क्यों दिया, क्योंकि हमें स्टोर में नया प्रोडक्ट को ट्राई करवाना था, तो ए का 2 हो गया। ठीक है, नेक्स्ट इज, ए का 2 यहां पे भी है। नेक्स्ट इज प्रीमियम्स की बात करी, प्रीमियम्स क्यों दे रहे हैं, कस्टमर का कंजम्पशन बढ़ाने के लिए, ज्यादा खरीदिए, तो बी का 4 हो गया। तो बी का 4 मैंने यहां भी कर दिया, यहां भी कर दिया। ठीक है, सैंपलिंग, अब सैंपलिंग क्यों कर रहे हैं, सैंपल तब देते हैं किसी भी कस्टमर को नया प्रोडक्ट ट्राई कराने के लिए, तो सी का 1 हो गया। अगेन फिर बचा डी, और डी का फिर हम 3 पे टिक करके आ जाएंगे। ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं। अरेंज द फॉलोइंग स्टेप्स इन अ प्रॉपर सीक्वेंस टू फोरकास्ट द डिमांड फॉर अ प्रोडक्ट सिस्टमेटिकली एंड साइंटिफिकली। बहुत ही एकेडमिक क्वेश्चन, एकेडमिक आंसर है इसका। पहला होता है स्पेसिफाइंग द ऑब्जेक्ट, सी। फिर होता है डिटरमाइनिंग द टाइम पर्सपेक्टिव, डी। फिर होता है मेकिंग चॉइस ऑफ मेथड फॉर डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग, ए। फिर होता है आपका कलेक्शन ऑफ डेटा एंड एडजस्टमेंट, ई। और फिर होता है आपका फाइनली रिजल्ट। तो सी डी ए ई बी, तो सी डी ए ई बी ऑप्शन बी में दे रहा है, दिख रहा है मुझे, और बी सही आंसर हो जाएगा। Next is arrange the following industry verticals in the ascending order of their weightage in the index of core industries in India। तो ये क्या है, इंडेक्स ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोडक्शन है, जो सेंट्रल स्टेटिस्टिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मंथली बेसिस पे प्रोड्यूस करता है, एक तरीके से ये बताने के लिए कि हमारा जो इंडस्ट्रियल जो प्रोडक्शन है इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोडक्ट्स का, वो कितना हो रहा है। तो उसकी एक बास्केट होती है जिसमें उसमें 8 अलग अलग कोर इंडस्ट्रीज के प्रोडक्शन लिए के वेटेज लिए जाते हैं। ठीक है, अराउंड 40% कुछ होता है। तो इसमें जो ऑर्डर है वो होता है रिफाइनरी प्रोडक्ट्स का सबसे पहले, फिर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, फिर आपका स्टील हो गया, फिर कोल हो गया, फिर सीमेंट हो गया। ये मैंने आपको डिस्क्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में बता दिया। तो अगर आप इंक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में करेंगे तो बी से शुरू होगा, बी के बाद सीधे कोल पे जाएगा, तो सी सीधे में पता चल रहा है, और ऑप्शन सी इसका सही आंसर हो जाएगा। नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं। अरेंज द फॉलोइंग स्टेजेस ऑफ बाइंग डिसीजन प्रोसेस इन द लॉजिकल सीक्वेंस। अगेन एकेडमिक क्वेश्चन है। तो पहला होता है आपका नीड रिकॉग्निशन, दूसरा होता है कॉम्प्रिहेंशन, तीसरा होता है आपका एटीट्यूड फॉर्मिंग, चौथा होता है लेजिटिमाइजेशन, और पांचवा होता है अडॉप्शन। तो सही आंसर इसका हो गया सी ए, सी ए ई, और डी और बी। ठीक है, तो यानी आपका ऑप्शन सी। नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं। अरेंज द इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपिटल मैनेजमेंट प्रोसेस फ्लो स्टेजेस इन प्रॉपर सीक्वेंशियल ऑर्डर। तो इसमें क्या होती है, सबसे पहले होता है आपका क्या कहते हैं आइडेंटिफिकेशन, उसके बाद होता है आपका कैप्चरेशन यानी डीबी, उसके बाद होता है आपकी इंडेक्सिंग यानी ये, उसके बाद होता है आपका स्टोर, और उसके बाद फाइनली होता है रेप्लिकेट। तो डीबीएईसी यानी आपका हो गया ऑप्शन सी।
So in this question, they have talked about alternate objective of business firms. Sales revenue maximization as an alternate objective of business firms. It was postulated by W.J. Baumol. The next question talks about forging a return address on an email so that the recipient is fooled into revealing private information. This is used by cyber bullies all over the world. The correct answer is spoofing. This question talks about e-commerce and large retailers doing mega consumption events, for example, the Flipkart events or Amazon, Myntra events, all of those things. So they have given us a list of the days on which it is most appropriate. So in India, Republic Day, Independence Day, Akshay Tritiya are all common, but nowadays even American holidays like Black Friday and Cyber Mondays are becoming a thing. So all 5 are correct. So the correct answer is B. The next question talks about the advantages of mobile banking. So they are insecure. This is a disadvantage. Fraud reduction is absolutely correct. Time saving is correct. And they increase the efficiency. So the correct answer is A. Next one talks about the WTO's dispute settlement system. So it's talking about the stages of WTO dispute settlement system. So the first stage is always consultation. The second is the entire process, the entire dispute will be reviewed by the panel. The third step will be, it goes to the appellate authority, then it will be implemented, and then there will be retaliations. So the correct sequence is C. The next question talks about benefits available to information system auditor who uses CAT. So what does auditor can do using CAT? First, they can check the susceptibility to the threat. This is your first thing. They can evaluate, yes, data security, absolutely, bolster control, and then can develop an IT governance. So the correct answer, the correct sequence is C. The next one talks about the steps involved in budgeting. Steps involved in budgeting. So the first step will always be identification of the investment proposal. The second one will be to screen the proposal, evaluate them, then implement, and finally performance review. So the correct answer is C. The next one talks about the steps involved in research process to carry out orderly and systematic research. Very basic research methodology question. So what are the steps? What will be the actual first step? The first step will be defining the problem. Second will be formulating the hypothesis. Then you do need to prepare a research design, collect information, finally do the report writing. So the correct answer is B. Now, this is a very straightforward question in which they have given you a passage and then you have to find the answers from it. So in the question, it talks about India has one of the world's highest number of billionaires, poverty, barely 5% Indians pay income tax. Statement 2 says 50 crore workers. If you look at the passage, these lines, these exact lines are given here in the end of the passage. So the correct answer is D. The next question talks about incorrect statements. They're asking you to identify the incorrect statements. If you have read this passage properly, then you will realize that India became member in 1995, not 1996 as this is given. So the correct answer is C. The next question talks about not a supportive factor of India's economy. So in the passage, these lines pertain to increasing economy. So the correct answer is D. The next question again has statement 1 and statement 2, which talks about start of 21st century, 6 and 7%, 2013 to 2018, fastest growing economy. All of these things are given. Where is this given in the passage? It's given right here. It's given right here. The correct, both statements are correct. So answer is A. The next question is an assertion reasoning question. It talks about the consumer market as well as India's GDP. So where does these statement come from in the question? The passage talks about these terms as long-term growth perspective, positive. All of these things will help you answer this question. It will help you answer this question. So option B is the correct answer. The next one talks about Aadhaar. This passage talked about Aadhaar, and if you see the question, the first statement itself is what is being asked. So the correct answer is A. Next one talks about India stack better. India stack better. So where is this given? It's given right here. It's given right here. So the correct answer is A. The next one talks about the credit availability. Now, credit availability in the question, in the passage was given here. These were very straightforward passage questions with direct answers given in them. The next one talks about system that creates biometric IDs to establish proof of residence. The second statement of the passage. The second statement of the passage. The next one is an assertion reasoning question, talks about India's income distribution and overall consumption from 2 trillion to 4.9 trillion. These were given in the final statements of the passage.